Are you looking for the top lead sources, the top three specifically that can lead to 100 plus transactions today? Well, with me today, we have Peter Boutros, my co-host on our podcast. And today we want to talk about specifically what our top lead sources are that lead to over 100 transactions a year. How you doing today, Peter? Thanks for joining again.
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Good, man. Good, good. So I know we were talking briefly about this, and we always usually go back to this, but what are your top three lead sources?
Sharif, it sounds very basic, and most people don't want to hear this, but over 50% of our leads that close till this day are Sphere, and those are referrals from friends and family members, people that we've closed with prior, and people that are recommending us regularly. I had a person that I recently, well, not recently, I worked with when I was 16 years old that reached out to me on social media a month ago and wanted me to help her with buying a house.
Mm,
So it's really comes down to that and just staying on top of mind, right? People underestimate the power of staying on top of mind with everybody that you met in your life. If it's like somebody that you went to middle school with or high school, there's somebody I was 16, and you're talking about like, you know, 30 years later. Oh, sorry, 22 years later, right? 22 years later that came back and wanted to me or my team to help them buy a house. What about
amazing.
you, Sarif?
Yep.
What's your top one?
Top one, same there with you, Peter. About 55% of our business until this day is Sphere. We do categorize it the same way. It's going to be past clients, it's going to be friends and family, it's going to be referrals from that base of people that we know. And, we're constantly trying to keep ourselves top of mind. I'm glad that you shared that because I think that's important just in general, just top of mind, not only with your sphere, but everybody, but specifically with your sphere. Consider that it's a great lead source for you because you'll never find a better salesperson for you, except, besides the people that actually know you. And those type of referrals that come in, from past clients, from friends and family, those are the best type of clients to work with, right? You don't have to prove yourself. They already know from past history from someone that you work with or someone that already knows you. So to actually develop on that business, we do try to stay in touch with our past clients and our Sphere database on a quarterly basis. I think it's very important that 4 times a year you are reaching out to that database of people. And we like to do it through different venues, right? Just through social media, doing it through client appreciation events, just different ways, even mailers and phone calls, just trying to stay in front of everybody so that they remember you or able to remember what you do when they hear about that someone that wants to actually buy or sell.
100%. And I know you get the same thing too. And I get that all the time from new team members that come and join our team
Mhm.
that they say, "Oh, I don't have any sphere," or a lot of the people that I went to school with are no longer around, or I haven't talked to in so long. What do you typically say to people like that?
They're still people. They're still contacts. I mean,
Right?
one of the first steps that we do on the team, Peter, I know you probably do it the same as well, is during your onboarding process, we actually help you export the contacts out of your phone. People have thousands of numbers in their phone, and between that and your social media, you probably can develop your own database of people, and that's what we encourage our new team members to do. So we're extracting that data from those different sources, building a CSV file for you and helping you scrub it. Like we don't want to see like the local pizzeria or the pharmacy or any of those contacts. We don't need that, but you might have the number for your neighbor. That's
Yeah.
great. That's your sphere. That's what you want. You might have, your friend's sister's number that lives 2 towns over in your database. That's great. That's your sphere, right? Or someone that you graduated high school with over 20 years ago. That's great too, right, Peter? That's
Oh, yeah.
here. So what you want to do is get those people into your database, and now it's all about database management. It's one of the most important factors of being a real estate agent, right? Is actually organizing the people that you possibly know, or need to get to know better, right? And just develop on those relationships. And that's what you really need to do. So again, first step that we do in onboarding is get that information, extract it and bring it all into the CRM, start running the automations, start inviting these people to our client events, start putting them on seller alerts. One of the first phone calls that you're making on our team is contacting those people that you might only have a phone number for and asking them for other critical information to help them out. Like, are you interested in your home's value? Would you like me to keep you updated on that? Well, I'll need your email address and possibly your address as well. So you're getting all that crucial data and you're organizing it into your system because now you're top of mind, right? And you have that data that you need to provide them value.
I love that so much. And a lot of times people get stuck because they don't know what to say. They haven't talked to them in so long. I tell them, look, you don't have to tell them like, hey, are you interested in buying or selling a house? Like, just say like, hi, my name is Peter. I'm not sure if you know, I recently got my real estate license, and I'm just doing a free home value report for everybody that I know in my database. And I'm just curious, do you know anyone that would benefit from that?
Mhm.
Right. And it's just that simple. You're not asking them directly. It's a subtle way for you to let them know that you got your real estate license and you're given some sort of a service, and you're reaching out to see if anyone they know that may benefit. And then at the end of the day, they were like, oh, actually maybe I would be interested, right? Or my neighbor or my friend or my family member. Well, and then you can take it from there, right? And then like, oh, what about investment policy? What's the plan now? And then start catching up with them and be like, hey, and it's been a while, I haven't spoken to you in a while. How are things going? And a really good way, and I know you do the same thing too. It would be beneficial if you look them up on social media to see if they have any life changing events that
Mhm.
you can compliment them, or you find some sort of way to talk about that life changing event with them, right?
Mhm.
What else do you do, Sharif, or what do you tell your agents to do when they don't know what to say to their sphere when they call?
I mean, right off the bat, Ford, right? Really, it's a go-to for most conversations. It could be a new client, it could be a listing appointment, it could be, initial and buyer consultation helps you gather information. But we're talking about Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, right? That's just a standard script you can use anywhere. And that's really what you want to do. I like to start off with that rather than even, introduce the fact that, that you got a real estate agent job. Right. But I love when you tell them, do you know anyone that would benefit from a home valuation? I like that. Right. So I would add that to that probably after going through the Ford script, trying to catch up with some of these people I haven't talked to in a while, right?
Sure.
Let's talk about their family. Let's talk about work. How's that going? Let's talk about, hey, what are you doing? That's fun. What are you doing? You have any, vacations plans? And what do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? Like, what are your plans for the future? Like, what do you guys want to do? Or do you want to retire at? What I mean? Just talk about that kind of stuff. And then, hey, I got this new job, just out of curiosity, do you know anyone that could benefit from like knowing their value? And just really talking about it in a way that you're inquiring, right? Like, do you want that by any chance? Like, is that okay? Like, if I go ahead and maybe ask you about that, if you know someone that would want that, and it's really a good scenario just using that script of Ford to introduce those topics. I like to also, invite them to our client events. We always have a client event going. I know we brought it up before, but it's such an easy conversation, and I tell our agents that when you're rather just like invite someone to our pizza and ice cream social or a movie or a pie pickup, rather than talk to them about real estate. And it's gonna eventually lead into real estate, right? People always ask you eventually what's happening in the market. And at that point, that you actually kick off the conversation and try to lead into other ways to figure out how you can, develop those touches later on. That's why you're offering a valuation for their property. It's another touch, right? Another follow up. They check their value, then now you can check in. So those are the things that we're trying to do is figure out ways to touch our database more.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. It's great. So again, very subtle, and you're asking them about their situation, and normally when you ask somebody, also, how's work? What do you do for work now? They typically respond by asking you the same question too, right?
Yeah,
So sometimes you don't even have to try to figure out a way to let them know. Like they're gonna ask you, "What do you do now?"
yeah, yeah,
Or or if they've been following you on social media and you updated your profile and you started posting already, they'll probably tell you, "Congratulations, I saw that you recently got your real estate license," right?
yeah,
This is really good. Uh,
definitely.
and what about the second one, Sharif? What's your second top lead source?
The second one is kind of we kind of like jumble it together. We like to call it listing leads, leads off of our listing, like sign calls, the open house leads that come off of our listing, the leads that come off of the actual marketing for our listing itself, and people coming into it actually calling or contacting us directly about it. Right. I think that people like overlook that. And I know like a lot of people that do listings and don't do anything with the leads that come in. And it's one of our best lead sources because it's almost like you're running your own Zillow operation, right? Like you have a listing, it's producing calls for that listing. Now let's convert those leads. And majority of the time, obviously, if you have a property it's on the market, it's going to be buyers contacting you. But always put in the back of your mind that 44% of all buyers are sellers. So remember that. And key script is, well, are you going to be looking to rent or sell your current property? Just remember to ask everybody that question. And it really helps figure out, their intent, or if they have a property they need to sell, then you can get into a conversation about a seller strategy session. But our number two lead source is definitely going to be leads coming in, direct contacts that come off our listings, via sign calls or like direct calls in.
That's really good. And we get a lot of agents that tell us, "Oh, they don't answer," or they said they're not interested. And I want to know like a little bit about what the process is from somebody that calls you directly to go see the house, or even better, go to the open house. And what do you do after you get their information and have that conversation with them?
Yeah, I mean, the conversations again is gonna be another script. So we're gonna probably gonna hit the LP mama, when they're coming in, and we're gonna talk about key factors, and try to gauge why they contacted us. We'll figure out, are they looking in the area? We want to talk about location. We want to talk about their motivation. We want, when do they plan on moving? It's going to open up, asking these questions are going to open up details that we need to be the correct type of agent for them. Correct. So, just you're gonna go through it. How about the price? What were you shopping in, or how did you get that price range? Why do you think you'd be shopping in that price range? We like to use why and how a lot. A lot of why and how questions within the conversation really help us try to dive into it and build that trust with that person and get the information. But also, you want to talk about if they worked with an agent previously. Very important for you to know that so you can gauge what they possibly didn't like about that agent. Why you're talking to them now and they're not talking to that agent. Let's figure out why, right? In addition to that, when we're talking about price, somewhere along the line, you want to talk about mortgage lenders, right? You want to know if they spoke to a lender yet, why, how did you get that price range? Go into lender, hopefully conference one of our lenders in if possible. I like to do it with a group text. That's my favorite way because now you got your lender also batting for you. And also trying to get that client to not only, get motivated about it, but also let you know if they're talking to other people. So also a partner lender in that. And then at the end of it, we're going to book an appointment. At that point, we're booking a buyer's consultation. If it's a brand new buyer, hasn't been through the process, regardless, we want to go through our services in more detail and get a buyer agency signed. So we definitely do that at the buyer's consultation, or we're booking an appointment to view a property, right? And then we'll do a mini buyer's consultation, maybe in the driveway upon arrival, if it's a new client, depending on the situation. So that's really like, from start to finish, from getting the phone call in, what we're talking about on the actual phone call itself, and then the outcome of what the phone call should be, the actual outcome of that phone call. And if you're not booking an appointment, you're booking a follow up. Okay. Three outcomes of every conversation strictly are going to be obviously booking an appointment. That's our goal, or booking a follow up, or we're deciding we don't want to work with that person. And that's okay, right? We're not compatible with some people, and that's perfectly fine. There could be someone else that that could be compatible, or even someone else on the team that can be. So that's really from start to finish what happens with a phone call coming in on one of our leads.
I love that. I love the fact that you're using a script and you have a systemized process for every lead that comes in, right? Like, and this is what I want you guys to take a note of here is that every lead gets treated the same exact way
Every
from step one all the way till step 10, right? It's like almost like a checklist or maybe either even a mental checklist that Sharif and his team go by every time a lead calls in on one of their listings. And it's very
Literally.
important, right? You can't wing it every time. And because if you do, you're going to miss important steps.
Yeah,
So you have to make sure, like in the beginning, especially, like you have to go through almost like a checklist and go through the set of questions that you guys do. Or, for example, just like Sharif said, so you don't miss any important steps because it's going to look very bad. And like you going back to them a couple of days, like, oh, I forgot to ask you, what locations are you interested in? Or, maybe if they were renting or selling their home, like all these things you want to try to confront them in the beginning so you look like the professional, know what what you're talking about, and they don't say like, oh, this guy just keeps missing information, and or do they even know what they're doing? uh,
definitely. You
so
want to
that's
go through it. I mean, and we have agents on the team that literally will go into the notes section. We dial off of with headsets on our laptops. It's usually
hmm
dials. And if we're taking in that incoming call, we're usually, doing the same. And we have our CRM system pulled up with the notes section pulled up. And we have, like myself included, and we have teammates that will actually put LP Mama going down, and then
that's
write it
awesome.
out. Okay, we're talking about location first. And then, and then we're talking about price. Then we're talking about motivation. And we're putting it all in there. And even if we seem to like you go and not in the same order, you're still hitting those. And then at the end of the phone call, oh, okay, we didn't talk about lender. Let me make sure I talk about that real quick.
hmm
So we do have a checklist. I think it's very important to have that checklist. And you should have a methodical way of speaking to people. Just like when you're going on an appointment, it should be structured. Like for a listing, it should be certain activities that you do every time, usually in the same order, so you get better at it. And it becomes, natural at a certain point for most of our agents on our team because they're just so used to doing it every conversation. So you got to just get yourself into the practice of it and just remember to do it every time.
There's a really cool tool that you told me about too, and I know your team sometimes uses it, especially the virtual assistants that you have. I
Mhm.
believe it's called Snippet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's also something that's very helpful for you guys to create like shortcuts by putting in certain keystrokes in your keyboard, and like maybe the notes section or anything or an email even.
Yep.
So, for example, like we have something that says like if you put / buyer automatically it will bring up all the questions like Sharif said, the LP Mama script,
Yep.
and then they can put that right away, and then they can't miss anything during that step process. So this way it avoids you like, oh, let me look for the script really quick. You're scrambling. It's just a very simple command that you put in, like 4 or 5 letters, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely it. And that's why it's important, to be at like a location where you're actually dialing or, taking calls, where you have those type of tools that you can actually execute upon making those calls, right? So it's important to also have a structured time of when you're doing such so that you're sitting in that location and then you're more efficient at doing it. And those tools are awesome because like literally like our ISA team is what they do slash buyer and a whole set of questions comes in and then they're asking all the right questions that they need to in order to pass that lead off to one of our agents. So all of the leads that go over to any of our agents, have a thorough amount of questions they were asked because we control that part. And they already know what it is because they're doing it over and over and over again.
I love that. The next part I want to talk about is the open house process, right? And this is the thing that I feel like a lot of real estate agents don't maximize on. And because they go in there and then they collect information from the open house, and then they say, oh, well, they never reached back out to me, or they were not interested in that specific house. Sharif, what is the main objective of doing an open house overall?
I mean, first we want to do is we want obviously more exposure for our listings, right? That's definitely one of the facts of the matter. It gets adds another, alert on the MLS, adds another alert on a public websites that there's an opportunity for people to view the property. But if the people that come to the property are not purchasing that home itself, the whole thing is to develop a relationship with them. Now we spend hours trying to phone call people, right? Call them on the phone to try to get face to face. And open house is an opportunity just to get face to face. There's very few places where you can sit and people will walk in the door that can be possible clients, right? So that's the whole thing. And you should be developing some type of relationship, some type of value provided to these people so that you can convert them and hopefully represent them. And we do group that into the leads that come off our listings into the open house, and we convert them well. We even have listings that we procure right from the leads that people coming into the open houses that came in, not even specifically to look at the house to purchase it, but to look at the house to see what the process looks like, right? Of the open house, what we've done. I mean, we go all out. We're putting signs everywhere. We call the neighborhood, circle dialing just to make sure everybody knows. We have a blow up guy that's floating around in the front yard trying to grab attention. Balloons are always used as well. So there's ways to, enhance it so that you're trying to pull more people into the open house. So definitely, using those tactics can get you just more contacts into your database. That's what you want. Remember, this is a database game, guys. That's what real estate is. You're just trying to get as many contacts as possible, nurturing those contacts as best as possible, providing value. So why not do that right through an open house? I mean, every new agent should be doing one every day if possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. I mean, we do exactly the same thing. One of the things that we like to do also right before the client leaves the open house, we try to meet them before they leave, right? And obviously, we want to greet them and we want to kind of answer any questions that they have and build that forward, right? Like, try to ask them, like, the first question that we typically ask, hey, welcome to our open house today. How did you find out about us? So we want to know if it came from a sign, online, whatever it is. And then we ask them like, okay, great. Have you been looking for a while? And so let me show you around. And then we go and start building that relationship, right? And then we want to, like, just like at any regular showing, like, how do you feel about the space, right? Would you see yourself putting your furniture here? What about your TV? Like, we want to future pace them into envisioning themselves into the house, right?
Mhm.
Because this is how people start getting into, okay, like, yeah, I see myself here or not. Because a lot of times people get overwhelmed when they see so many houses in one day because that client is going to be going to multiple houses. It could be their first one, and we're trying to help them decide if this is the right one for them.
Mhm.
So, and it also gives us feedback of what it is that they're looking for. So we want to actually get them to envision themselves in the house while they're there and see if this is a good fit for them. And before they leave, we like to use the rating strategy, and I believe you use that too.
Mhm.
At a rate from 1 to 10, what would you rate this house? If a 10 checks all your boxes, it's your dream home, and you would consider making an offer on it immediately. And if it's anything less than a 9 or an 8, we ask them like, hey, what would make it a 9 or a 10? We want to know like what changes would you make to this home to call it your future home, so we can get more feedback, right? And based on that, we leave them with the next step, right? Hey, we do come across a lot of opportunities like this, and we actually know of ones that are coming on the market soon. Would you be opposed if I reached out to you right after the open house to give you more listings, just like the ones that you described, or some of the things that I think may fit your criteria? And just by asking that permission and building that rapport, you're at least they're expecting a call from you, right?
Yep.
But the key here, though, is to not drop the ball on the follow up, right? Because that's the most important task of the open house. It's what you do after the open house. It's not just at the open house, right? A lot of agents get stuck in like, oh, they think that the client is going to buy that specific house the first time they see it. And I would say a big part of like, people that go to that open house, they don't end up buying that specific house. Some do, but not most will end up buying it. But it's again, it's an opportunity for you to meet them, and like Sharif said, it does give more exposure to the seller and the listing overall, and it does help create that buzz around the neighborhood. Like oh, what's going on here? And the more people that you bring into the open house, the more likely that it would probably sell quicker,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, and use that buzz to your advantage, right? Go door knock the properties. I mean, go talk to the neighbors. You never know; they might know somebody that wants to move into their neighborhood. I
Yep.
mean, that's the whole point of getting out there and talking to people within the community is to find out how you can better serve them and your client. So the fact of the matter, they might be interested in selling their home as well. They might be interested in their value. Might be someone that you want to follow up later on, but follow up is key. The gold is in the follow-up. And
Yep.
even if they're not interested in buying that house, they're interested in buying a house, obviously. So talk to them about it. Get some more information and definitely, try to exhaust any way you can help them.
I love that. Awesome. And the last one, Sharif, what is your last top lead source?
Last top lead source is going to be like motivated sellers. We get these type of inquiries a number of ways. But it's going to be people that are, usually in a time constraint is what it is, and we need to sell their home, or at least confused about the process. So they came through an avenue of, a situation where someone's looking for a cash offer on their property, or they're looking to sell their property within, a week or two. Because of some type of external factor that's normally affecting them. In most cases, it's going to be foreclosure, some type of notice of sale, or it could be some type of death in the family, divorce situations. We find all types of different scenarios, or even maybe a seller doesn't even want to put their home on the market, doesn't want to go through the process. So that is, our one of our best lead sources. There's numerous ways that we do get those type of leads, but one is just to tell people that you work with those type of sellers, right? I think that's a very overlooked way of getting those type of leads. But yes, we work with distressed sellers. We work with motivated sellers. We're actually, I would consider ourselves specialized in it at this point, because we understand those scenarios and we understand that we're there to help the people. And it might not be like the normal circumstances other people encounter.
Yeah. Well, we do the same thing too. It is also our top, I would say our top three as well. And it would help a lot if you are an investor yourself or know of investors that you can give this opportunity to, because you don't want to do a bait and switch, right? But our service there is like, this is somebody that saw an ad in some way or form, if it's either online, email, YouTube, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And then it talks about getting a quick home sale, and then it's a cash offer, right? So you want to go in there with a true cash offer that you or somebody that would buy it for that amount that you give them. But most likely it's going to be, 30 to 25% less than market value. And if they do accept it, which we had some people that have accepted that offer, you need to make sure that you have a person like that. And if you don't, reach out to Sharif or I. We're more than happy to.
Straight up.
Um, yeah,
we'll, we'll either buy it ourselves or
yeah,
we'll put you in contact with the right person that will purchase property from you. But that's exactly it, Peter. It's providing solutions to people that need it, right? They have a problem. They want to sell their home quickly, or they want to sell it off market. They don't want to go through the hassle of putting it listing on the market and doing all, what it takes to actually prepare the home or go through the showing process, whatever it may be. It's their decision, right? So we were providing a solution. And for sure, anyone out there that is struggling with a listing or has gotten a listing opportunity that they feel that they couldn't put on the market, please reach out to us. Like, we would be more than happy to walk you through it or even possibly purchase that property ourselves. So just so you know, we do offer that service. That is something that definitely that we do in-house. And if it's definitely nationwide as well. If we don't purchase it ourselves, we'll put you in touch with the right people who do purchase, who will purchase it from you.
And we
And
will compensate you, by the way.
yeah, you will get a compensation. It's exactly as about the hit. You will make money on it. You will, make some type of, an actual introduction fee, a referral fee, commission, or even the listing itself when it's rehabbed and ready to put on the market. So remember, there is options. So in our back pocket, even if we don't purchase ourselves, we have investors that we can always go to that purchase properties, if not locally, but also nationwide. So that's when we go to these type of appointments, it's exactly what we tell our clients or potential clients, is that, either we're going to buy the property, we can, show you ways we can list the property for you, other scenarios, you can sell your house, or we also have investors that could purchase the property, snap a couple photos, send them over to them, and basically get you your offer. So that's really the function of that type of scenario.
And just really quickly, just so you know how to how the math works, is it has to be market value minus repairs minus 30% of that, right? So, given for easy math, it's $100,000 purchase or market value. It needs $10,000 worth of repairs. So, and then it would be 90 minus 30% of that, which was probably be like in the 65,000, something like that. So
Mhm.
that's how the math would work in that example, right?
Yeah.
So, don't make the mistake by just, the house needing 200 or $100,000 worth of work, and then you just do 30% off of the market value, not including the repairs. Because there's a lot of factors that go into that percentage and why it's less, right? Obviously, there are closing fees on the buy side, there are closing fees on the sell side, and there are holding costs, and there are taxes that has to get paid out. And there's obviously, after all this, we're already talking that like 15% are gone already. So, the investor is not even going to be left of like 15, 10%. So why would an investor risk their money, pay cash for something that they're not going to get a minimum of 15% on, where they can just leave their investment in a safe savings account and get like, or put it in a S&P 500 and get close to 10% a year. So that's how the math works.
It's definitely how the math works. And if you're in those type of situations where you have one of those, type of sellers in front of you, please let us know. If you can't handle it yourself, we able to assist you through the process. And it's really, you're just helping them. They obviously need to sell their home. And it might not be the traditional way on the market. It happens. But there are other ways to sell a property. So definitely that is, one of our top lead sources that we have.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sharif. And guys, I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. We will be dropping off some resources in the comments below or in the description. Also, our contact information if you have anything or any referrals that you want to send over our way. Again, we're more than happy to compensate you for doing that referral. Feel free to share, comment, and like, and subscribe. And we look forward to having you on again on the next podcast. Thanks
Awesome.
again, Sharif.
See ya, Peter. Talk to you
Take
soon.
care. Bye bye.